today I'm sharing with you 3 systems that have helped me keep connection post-baby. Hey everybody, I'm Allison Schaaf, chef, dietitian, mom, and founder of prepdish.com. The first system that I found that kept me connected to other people as a new mom was sleep training. So this one's a little controversial. I know some people have different feelings, so we did sort of a modified version, but after reading a book on the importance of sleep in babies and in their brain development, me and my husband felt really strongly that we wanted our baby to get good sleep, so we worked with an outside consultant to get him on more of a routine, and having this schedule and routine and a baby that sleeps through the night was really helpful in allowing me to stay connected with friendships as well as with my husband. So that's kind of out of the 3 things I talk about today, I think getting baby in more of a sleep routine is sort of the foundational piece of everything. So the second system that helped me to stay connected was some female forums. So I have 2 different groups that I'm a part of, and the setup for these groups is pretty similar actually. So with both of these groups, we meet once a month and we have a set structure. One of the groups is very entrepreneurial entrepreneurial focused. There's 4 of us total in the group, and we meet once a month to go over business, but we also touch on personal and relationships. So we have a format of sharing our what we call updates at the beginning of the meeting, and then we have presentations that can be business focused but can also be focused on something personal, an issue that one of us might be going through. We also share business numbers and milestones and things like that, and then afterwards we go to dinner just as a way to sort of connect. And also if there's topics that came up during the meeting that we weren't able to address, sometimes we'll talk about those more casually at dinner time. So this is a group that I was a part of pre-baby, but post-baby, especially in the early months, it was a little more challenging to attend those meetings. They did allow me to bring him with me for the first few months. So there was actually another mom in the group. It worked out well. They're only a few months apart in age, so there were a few meetings early on where the babies were there. I don't know, maybe not ideal, but it worked for us, and we were able to still have our meetings, have the moms in the group connect with everyone and still be there even during those early months. And then after that, you know, I went on my own, and just have found that like keeping up with that and always knowing that I'm gonna have that check-in time once a month was so important for me. It was something that was really important to me before baby, but then afterwards has just become so much more important to have that sort of resource and stability. And then I have a second group that's very similar. It's just less work focused. And then, you know, another piece with those groups is that we do go on once a year retreats. I'll talk a little bit about that at the end of the video. The third system is date nights. So I don't know if it's necessarily a system, but kind of more routine. And this is something that I didn't maybe roll my eyes, but I wasn't big into the date night thing before baby. It was, you know, I don't know, it was just me and my husband. We both work from home. We went to a lot of events together. We traveled together. We spent a lot of time together. And sure, we went on what you would call dates, but we didn't really have to be that intentional with the dates. We spent time together and didn't have to think about it. But now, as I'm coming out of the first year of motherhood, I see how important those nights are, and we book those in advance. We'll look at our calendar for the month, and it doesn't end up being every week, but I think ideally the every week is what we aim for, and then we just kind of are flexible depending on what our schedules look like. I will say the date nights become even more important the busier we are. So if my husband has a lot of work travel, which has popped up this year, when he gets home from the travel, we know that we need to schedule that date night to have some time for us to connect. So it's almost like the less time we have, the more important they are. And we've also been flexible in what that looks like. So one night we were supposed to go on a date night, and we were looking at restaurants, and I said, what if we just went on a picnic? So we have actually right out here, we have a river in our backyard basically. And I said, well, what if we would get a babysitter, but we would go down and have a picnic? We already had the babysitter. And I said, what if we would just have a picnic? So we packed up some charcuterie and a bottle of wine and a blanket and walked down to the river and had our picnic there. And after that, it was a good reminder that, man, that's like a perfect date night. It doesn't need to be something that's fancy or expensive, but just getting out of the house, just the two of us, and a place for us to connect, just the two of us, is so important. So with date night, basically look at it as a way to connect, but don't have a set idea in your mind of what it has to look like, and be flexible that there are other things that you can do outside of just the, dinner date type thing, although those do work well for us too. So one piece that's been a little more of a struggle to navigate has been travel. So out of those 3 systems that I shared with you, the second 2, the one that was staying connected with sort of a peer group of girlfriends, and then the third was, staying connected with my husband. A big piece of both of those over this past year have been travel, in the form of like a retreat or a trip that's away from the home. And that is something that I've gone ahead and done even with baby. I know sometimes in the first year it can be hard to leave them. It wasn't necessarily easy, but it was also something that I felt was really important to still get that time. And so that was something I went ahead and did. And going into it, there were moments where I was unsure. In the middle of the trip, there were moments where I was unsure, if I should be away from him or not. But looking back, I'm really glad that I took these trips. It helped me to connect in a deeper way to my girlfriends as well as my husband, time away from baby. And yeah, so if you're struggling with that, I get it. You have to do what feels right for you. But being on the other side of it, I will say I am glad that I took those trips and I took that time for me to stay connected and help me still feel a bond with, family and friends that were important to me. So in addition to those 3 systems, of course, something that's really helped me out as a new mom is figuring out how to navigate mealtime and eat healthy. And I have a video that I did, reflections of my first year of motherhood and how that impacted family meals and mealtime. So if you want to see that video is linked here. And then I also have a video on freezer meals. So freezer meals have been really instrumental in just making sure that I can kind of have that routine and schedule. So if you want to see that video, that's linked here as well. But cat